life. Life life is a struggle. And we don't notice the things that tear us down every day. And we really don't know how to cope with it. Not everybody, some people do. But let's just say someone gave you a bike. You don't know why. You don't know what it's going to lead you to. You don't know where it's going to take you. You don't ask them, why'd you give this to me? But you think it. Or you don't ask them, what's this for? What is it going to take me to? You just simply stand there and look at this bike and be like, what is this going to do? Like, what is this for? And people know bikes are to ride on and have fun. So you simply do what you do. You get on the bike and start pedaling. Soon you're at 5 miles per hour, then 10, then 15, then 20. Then all of a sudden, you're biking up to 100 miles per hour. One little thing hits you. Okay, you keep going. A little bit later, a few moments later, another little thing hits you. And a couple moments later, another one hits you. And little rocks or whatever you want to call it keeps hitting you. And you don't know what it is. But just moments later, you get knocked over by this giant rock or this wall that just tears you down. And you know what that's called? That giant rock or wall, the thing that just made you fall and crash off your bike. That's life. And you're probably sitting there thinking, like, this doesn't make any sense. But as you were riding that bike, those little rocks or those little things that hit you, you just shrugged it off and didn't say, oh, you didn't think about it and say, what was that? You just kept riding. And you weren't focusing on where that bike was leading you. It was life that knocked you down. And those little pieces, rocks, those were things that were troubles in your life, good or bad. But let's just say they were troubles. And those little things, you're just like, okay, whatever. You just kept riding until you hit that one thing that knocked you over. And those are problems that were in your life that you just shrugged off. Now, those little things that you kept shrugging off and you fell off of hitting that giant wall, giant rock, those little things took you to that. Now, as you're thinking on that bike, you didn't even thought of asking that person that gave you that bike. You just kept riding to see where it took you. And the next day, that same person decided to give you a new bike because you crashed the other. But this time, you asked them, why are you giving me this bike? And they didn't answer. And you decided to hop on it and start riding. And they stop you before you could start pedaling. They say, you can't ride this today. Not today. And you're simply asking, why? Why can't I ride this bike if you're giving it to me? And they say, because you weren't responsible enough to face the troubles from the last one. Mind-blowing, right? Those troubles, that bike is part of life. Those troubles, that giant rock or wall, is part of your life. You shrug those off. And that person, you ask, why did you give me this? And they simply say, every struggle that hits you, get off that bike and face it. Because that's life. Because if you don't face it, you're eventually going to hit something that knocks you over and tears you down. And that makes you realize, if you don't stop, it's just going to get harder until something big just tears you down. Like how you ran into that wall. So this time, You start riding on that bike again. But you actually stop when something hits you. You're riding, bam, something small hits you. You get off, put the bike down. Let's call this losing a friend. You lost a friend, and you faced the consequences. You talk to that friend, and look, you talked to it, maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't. But the first time when you got hit by that, you just kept going and you shrugged it off. After talking with that friend, everything's good, everything might not be good. You get on that bike again and start riding. Let's say parents yelling at you. But this time, this little thing that hit you, they're yelling at you because of your grades in school. Let's say you're failing all your classes, but because before, you shrugged it off because you wanted to keep riding. Now, as I'm trying to say right now, all these things, you need to face them, because if you don't, a giant rock called life is just going to smack you and tear you down. And that's going to make you feel depressed, make you feel like, what am I going to do? Like, you feel so lost and don't understand what's going on. And that's because you're ignoring everything. Now, I'm doing this video because I had a friend who is struggling. Actually, a couple friends, actually. And one of them says, why is this happening to me? Why are people doing this? Why am I struggling? Why am I always getting hit and then all of a sudden I get knocked over? And the answer, what came to my head, is because you're shrugging it off. And it doesn't make sense, but for me it does, because I have done this before. I shrugged it off and I bundle it all up until I crash. And I made this bike story because you're getting hit by something and you shrug it off like I did. And you're doing that too and you don't realize it until you're getting blocked by something that totally makes you crash. And my advice to you is, if you get hit by something, whether you like it or not, face it. It's good if you face something because that's going to make you stronger of a person. That's going to make life easier. Even if you don't think so, getting hit by something that just blows your mind away, changes your life. Either it's good or bad, but you need to face the stuff that's going on. What's going inside your head. You need to either write it down or go talk to someone, because it's not okay to shrug it off. I still do that sometimes, and I still need to work on that. But these things called life, whether you're losing a friend, whether parents are arguing, whether your grades are slipping, whether you just got broken up or get bullied, you're gonna have to face it. But part of facing it is going for help. And this bike story, I totally just made that up in my head because I feel like it relates. Knowing something hits you in life, you're starting to understand, like, oh my God, whoa, like that is like, whoa. And a couple of my friends who were asking me, like, how can you give everybody advice and not give it to yourself? And I thought about that for a few minutes, and I was like, wow. Usually, I'm like that type of person. I could give everybody advice but myself. But I realized you're a fraud if you can do that. I'm a fraud, yeah, I'll say. But I've actually started watching my own videos and be like, you just have to watch yourself. You need to, like, if you're doing this to one person, you can do it to yourself. Like, I've been working on that for a few days now. Like, I've actually started to feel a bit better and stuff. And it's just like, wow, like, knowing you can help someone makes you feel 10 times better about yourself. I had a friend come up to me yesterday and be like, how can you give great of advice. Like this friend is really close to me, and they're like, how can you give so much great advice for how much you've been through? You just answered your own question. Going through something, whether it's big or small in your life, facing that problem makes you a stronger person. So this video is here to show you, no matter what it is, do not shrug it off. You're going to have to face it to make you a stronger person. That's literally what I have for that video. For this video. But seriously, if you get like a keys to a car or something, or like a bike, and you don't know why, ask the person what it's going to lead you to. And if they say, I don't know, and you just start writing one thing that hits you right after another, make sure you stop and be responsible for your actions. Be responsible of facing a fear, because facing that stuff is going to make you 10 times stronger than you already are today. But that's it for today's video. Welcome to my channel. I know I didn't say that in the beginning, but I just really wanted to get that stuff out there because it's really something people need to think of. But that's it for today's video. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, any video ideas, put those down in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. If you don't, forget y'all. And make sure you face your problems, because you know you'll get better like that. But anyway, forget y'all.